I have been behind the camera for over 34 years, and in that time, I've had the pleasure of capturing numerous weddings. I have seen families grow up right before my lens, and I've even helped entrepreneurs build their brands. But recently, I decided something that honestly terrified me. I looked at the industry that I have been part of for over 3 decades, and I have decided to go completely against the grain. I have stopped selling digital files as my main product. I no longer just take pictures and hand over a gallery of data. Instead, I have decided to help people decorate their homes with artwork that honors the people that they love and cherish. So I wanted to share the why behind this change, and it isn't some kind of business tactic in any way at all. It's about saving my own love for photography. And most importantly, I want to be sure that the legacies that I'm capturing don't disappear into some kind of digital void. Hi, I am Suad, and I am drawing a line in the sand. In case you're new here, like I said, I have been doing this for a very long time, since the early 90s, and that is a lifetime in this industry. For the last several years, I have realized that I was part of a big problem. I have been part of a system that is creating a digital dark age, if you will. I was basically handing over files that were destined to go into the cloud, that eventually would no longer be accessible, and putting it onto hard drives that eventually would go obsolete and stop spinning. So I pivoted my entire business to a boutique model. And this comes down to a basic fundamental belief. I want to see my clients put images of themselves on their wall and keep their story present. Simple as that. Whether it's a bride or a groom, or images from a chaotic family session, or even a portrait of a business owner, it's all the same to me. If it's not printed, it's not finished. I had a really come to Jesus moment, and I had to ask myself, am I just a vendor selling binary code, or am I actually an artist creating heirlooms? And so now, to explain to you why I have gone the route of the boutique model, I'm going to have to go all the way back, flashback to my teenage years. And I remember visiting my friends' houses after school, and when we went into their living rooms or went down the hallways, one thing I always noticed. The friends whose homes are filled with family photos, whether that be framed portraits of their grandparents, candid images of their vacations, or even their childhood portraits on the mantle, those friends always seem to feel more connected with their history. And that always struck a chord with me. And there was always a sense of grounding in their homes. You couldn't walk into the kitchen or the bedroom without seeing evidence of love. Evidence of a sense of belonging, and that always struck a chord with me. Now, I realized early on that the homes that didn't have artwork of the people who actually lived there just always kind of seemed temporary, kind of nomadic, I guess, and it was always kind of quiet in the wrong, weird kind of way. So when I started my business back in the film days, the model was very, very simple. I kept the negatives. That wasn't about being greedy at all. It was just the way the world worked. And because photographers held the negatives, we provided clients with proof sheets. They were just basically 8.5 by 11, 8 by 10 prints of positive representations of their negatives. So if they ever wanted to see their images, they had to buy prints. And in order for them to protect those prints, they had to frame them or put them in a photo album scrapbook kind of thing. So needless to say, the work that I created back in those days actually ended up living in the physical world. It ended up on the walls doing exactly what I had admired about my friends' homes as a teenager. And then, as we know it, industry changed. When digital came on the scene, everything shifted. Like everyone else, I was told that this was the future, and I started providing JPEGs only. I became a shoot and burn photographer. I offered random prints and albums here and there, but basically I was just offering digital files. The logic was that we were giving clients freedom. Yeah, freedom. But looking back now and knowing what I actually know now, I realized that we weren't actually giving them freedom, but actually more chores, if you will. When I handed my clients digital files, I was actually unintentionally causing my clients to stop printing, something I never wanted to ever do. I would see the bride years later or a family, a mother, and ask them, hey, did you ever print the pictures that we took? And sad to say, more often than not, they would get some guilty look on their face and they'd say, oh, I still have it on the computer, or I meant to get to it, but life got in the way. I realized after a while that just selling them digitals, I was actually breaking the connection to history that I valued so much. I wasn't helping them decorate their homes. I was helping them clutter their hard drives, basically. I was actually helping them feel more stressed about something else that they hadn't done in their lives. So as I had looked recently at some work that I did during the digital peak, I was wondering, where are those photos now? Are they somewhere on the hard drive and corrupted and inaccessible? Are they lost in Facebook timeline from 2015 that no one scrolls back to? My personal philosophy is that a photograph is not real unless it's printed. I just knew that I had to go back to what I loved before, and so I had to pivot back to the model that directs my clients, whether they are families or brides, grooms, it doesn't matter. I wanted to direct them to print their legacy. So, what does this actually look like today? The boutique model allows me to return to the way that things used to be, but with a modern understanding. So, what this looks like now, like say when I'm working with a family now, we always plan a session with their walls in mind. We talk about their home decor. We talk about where the album will sit on the coffee table so the kids can flip through it easily whenever they want. Now, I'm going to address the big question that everybody seems to ask in this modern age, and that is, do I get this digital files? My simple answer is yes, I provide you social files. These social files are to be shared on social media. So for clients who invest in beautiful wall portraits or albums, I provide social files of the images to share with their friends and families. But the goal ultimately is the portrait. It's similar to the film days. I keep the negatives, which are the high-res files, and the client gets the finished print. And this isn't about restricting the client in any way at all. In actuality, it's about serving them. It's about making sure that in 30 years, if the cloud is still around, they don't have to worry about guessing their password to actually see their wedding day portraits. They just have to open a book. This pivot for me was not a business decision, but more of an emotional and personal necessity. I began to feel very disconnected from my work. As someone who's more naturally introverted, I feel things deeply, and the high volume churn and burn digital world just started to feel empty to me. It felt like I was running on a hamster wheel and creating content that just disappeared into the void. And so by helping families decorate their homes with artwork, just gave me the satisfaction of genuine connection. It allows me to slow down and to actually focus on story time rather than just file management. And when Pete and I walk into a client's home to install their artwork and I see their reaction, seeing their family story present and valued on their walls, I feel the same feelings that I felt as a teenager. I feel like I have helped them build a home that has a soul. I don't want to be a volume photographer. I want to be a historian for the families and the people that I serve. I have been doing this for a very long time, and I have seen trends come and go. I've seen filters and presets change, cameras change, but the feeling of holding a photograph in your hands, that never changes. Pivoting to the boutique model allows me to go back to the roots of my photography. It allows me to sleep at night knowing that I haven't just sold a file, I have preserved actual memories. And I believe that we all deserve to feel that connection when we walk into the doors of our home. I want to thank you for letting me share my story and my why behind my work. If you believe in the power of printed work, I would love it if you would subscribe and follow along. In the meantime, go print your work. Create your history. I'll see you next time.